Good morning and welcome to this media briefing entitled Yes Cities, Reimagining Urban Life for People and Planet. My name is John Dutton. I'm the head of Uplink and a member of the Executive Committee at the World Economic Forum. Pleased to be here with you today to talk about how important cities are to our future and in particular urban innovation. Pleased to be with a really esteemed panel today who's going to talk to us about why cities are so important and share an announcement about a new initiative. And I'd like to present our cast here. To my left, we have Anacláudia Rossbach, the Executive Director of UN Habitat. Thank you for being with us. To her left, we have Kwasi Mitchell, who is the Global Chief Sustainability Officer for Deloitte and the Chief Purpose and DEI Officer for the US. To his left is Fajer Mushtaq, who's the co-founder and CEO of Oxile. Next to Fajer is Zachary Smith, CEO and co-founder of Zalbin. Both of them are Uplink top innovators here as part of the delegation this week. Thrilled to have you. And on the end is Shanti Raghavan, who is the founder of Enable India, a Schwab Foundation social entrepreneur. Thank you to all of you for being here. We are joined online and here live in the room for the next 30 minutes. We're going to have a chance for each of our panelists to make remarks. We'll have questions then from the audience, as well as dialogue between us before we wrap up. So with that, let me provide just a little bit of context about what brings us here today. So 5 years ago, the World Economic Forum, together with Deloitte and Salesforce, established Uplink, a global engine for scaling purpose-driven innovation designed to unlock the power of entrepreneurship to tackle the world's most urgent challenges. Since that time, Uplink has supported over 10 different innovation ecosystems. We've run 70 different competitions that have sourced more than 8,000 entrepreneurs, and we're now actively supporting a community of 500 early-stage ventures who are based in more than 300 cities across the world. They are covering areas such as climate action, clean water, nature, and renewable energy by facilitating collaborations with ambitious ecosystems of visionary funders and partners. Now, these aren't just startups with potential, okay? These are ventures that are making real impact in the world. In the last 12 months alone, Uplink top innovators have collectively raised $617 million in investment capital. They've tracked and traced 28 million tons of waste through digital platforms, treated 2.5 billion liters of wastewater and hazardous materials, protected or actively managed 140 million hectares of aquatic or terrestrial area, and avoided 140,000 tons of CO2 emissions through clean electricity, heat production, sustainable agriculture, manufacturing, and other processes. This is just the tip of the iceberg. There are thousands of clean tech entrepreneurs out there who can make our cities a better place. Now, along this journey, we have begun collaborating with Jeff Merritt and the Center for Urban Transformation, which has emerged as a crucial response to enable sustainable future for the cities that are experiencing population booms across the world. In 2023, we launched YesSF, the forum's first place-based challenge to explore urban sustainability for San Francisco. And this spring, we will onboard a second cohort of YesSF entrepreneurs who are reshaping how the Bay Area welcomes startups who can contribute to sustainable livelihoods and a positive urban dynamic for the city's future. And that leads us to today. We're excited to announce an important milestone in evolution of this work. It's not enough to just do this in San Francisco, but we are launching today Yes Cities, an ambitious global initiative to accelerate the on-the-ground deployment of innovative solutions, reimagining and transforming urban life across the globe. So we're going to hear more about this announcement from each of our panelists, but we actually wanted to start with you, Anacláudia. As a reminder, she is the Executive Director of UN Habitat, because you work in over 90 countries. You're promoting transformative change in cities and human settlements through knowledge, policy advice, technical assistance, and collaborative action across sectors. But can you tell us a little bit about why cities matter? And why is it imperative that we're supporting and promoting more inclusive and sustainable cities?
Sure, John. I think we have to start with why cities, right? And then, yes, cities. So if we think about, we have today half of the population of the world living in cities. In 20 years, we're going to have 70%. So it's a lot. So why cities? Because people live in cities. And people should be at the center of our preoccupation. Then cities are responsible for 70% of emissions. So we have to look at cities when we think about climate change, but 80% of the GDP. So in cities, our economies thrive. In cities, we're going to fight climate change, and in cities, we're going to protect people. So this is the relevance of cities for the world, for the economy, for the environment. Then, yes, cities. So we have to more and more, from our different fields of work, look through this perspective and try to understand in the city's ecosystems, how can we contribute, how can we add value so that cities work for everything, for the business, for the people, and for the planet, right? But ecosystems in cities are very complicated, so we have different sectors operating in one territory. We have the health professionals, we have education, we have transportation, everything. I do think urban planning is a critical backbone, and the role of local authorities, mayors, local governments in coordinating, articulating private investments, public investments, so that cities can work. So the local approach, so yes, cities and the local approach. So we need all these entrepreneurs to connect the territory with their different areas, to interact going beyond their borders and mobilize the communities. We need to work with the communities in cities, and this is why, yes, cities, the shape of this initiative is so relevant for the mandate of UN Habitat. I'm speaking from UN Habitat, which is the UN organization that actually has the mandate of following what we called the commitment of countries, the New Urban Agenda, and to support the development in cities, in communities.
That's fantastic, Anacláudia. We're going to come back with more and kind of dig a little bit under the surface as we go forward. Kwasi, let me come to you. You have been personally committed to Uplink, to YesSF, and now to Yes Cities. Deloitte has taken leadership in this space. And 2 years ago, you joined other World Economic Forum partners to announce this first ever place-based Uplink challenge. Can you talk a little bit about what inspired this effort and what in your opinion has been achieved? What can we look forward to?
The great thing about this particular effort and what inspired us is we are the world's largest professional services firm, and we frequently talk about making an impact that matters. And as Anacláudia recently just spoke to, where else would we want to do that but in cities, which are not only where we live, where our families are, that we love so much, but are truly economic engines. And as we look at the challenges that cities face today, we sit back and we think about the fact that we should in fact be engaged in helping to drive prosperity and opportunities within cities because they give so much to us. And so as we moved forward with YesSF, it was phenomenal because not only was it a commitment to the UN Sustainable Development Goal 11 for a city that has given so much not only to the US but to the world. Yep. You think about San Francisco and its community of innovators and what it's given so much to us. Seeing San Francisco coming out of the pandemic and the distinct aspects of that innovation engine downtown not fully being there yet is what we wanted to be part of. And so we stepped back, we moved forward with YesSF, and now that particular community consists of over 90 different organizations that are committed to this community of innovators and entrepreneurs to truly drive impact at a scale that we've never seen before. And seeing so many people relocate to San Francisco, hire within San Francisco, drive value in San Francisco, which is what we feel like is the importance of that city. However, we don't want to just stop there. Our commitment has been, we've had a phenomenal collaboration with respect to Uplink. Jeff Merritt has done a phenomenal job with his team. why not take and expand that further, this new model that we've developed? And so now, as you alluded to earlier, our hope is to move forward and announce today that we want to support over 1,000 innovators over the next 5 years, heading in by 2030, and distinctly move into a position where we have deployed Yes San Francisco to Yes Cities across dozens of cities across the the world. And in fact, I say US because I'm very excited about launching a city in the US. And more importantly, I would say the other thing is we are going to be launching our first international Yes City campaign in India later this year. So many great things to come that we're incredibly excited about.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kwasi. This is really exciting, and I have a couple things I want to come back to you on as well. Fajer, let me now come to you. Oxyle has been announced as an aquapreneur yesterday. And this has been a really important movement for us to support water innovation. You are working on such a critical issue for the world that maybe some people don't know about. So I'd love for you to talk a little bit about Oxyle. Tell us about the work, raise awareness about PFAS, and please make the link to cities. Why is it important for our cities?
Absolutely. So what we do at Oxyle, we are a Zurich-based water technology company, right? So our mission is very simple. It's something you can take to heart. We want to have clean water down to the last drop and really protect our planet for the future generations. And this mission of Oxyle that we have is a personal mission of mine. Growing up in India and having to face water scarcity issues, I know what happens when cities and municipalities take water for granted, and it's just going to get worse and worse as the population grows, right? So about 11 years ago, when I was still younger and naive, I was given this brilliant opportunity to pursue a doctoral thesis to work on a topic that really mattered to me. It was clear I wanted to work on new materials, new innovation that drives water technology, and we can solve one of the most global pressing challenges of our times. That journey led me to then eventually found Oxyle. And today I'm really proud of what we do there. We are providing and empowering our end users, our customers, with a technology which cannot just filter or absorb, but really destroy these toxic chemicals from water. Like we're talking about PFAS or forever chemicals, and I'm sure many of us have been hearing this term more and more. These are chemicals that we use every single day, each one of us here. It's in the plastic container that you're drinking your water from, unfortunately. It's in our cosmetics. It's in our waterproof jackets that we wear every day. It's in our phones that we use, right? So we can't live without it. We need it. And what Oxyle has developed is the most cost-effective, sustainable method to empower their end users to truly take care of this problem and remove these pollutants for our future generations. And what makes me really excited is when we talk about how can we solve this problem of PFAS, right? Do we do that in a municipality level when the pollutants are very diluted, or can we go close to the source of the problem, right? And that's exactly what we should be doing in urban communities with high population densities, where every single one of us is discharging PFAS into the water by using it every day. So it could be a great way of empowering this innovation of Oxyle and bringing it in the hands of B2C customers, putting it in household complexes where we all have the option to be able to eliminate these toxic chemicals by empowering cities to then take care of it as well. And not just leaving it in the hands of government and large municipalities, because this will take a long time to deploy otherwise. So we could decentralize, we can empower local people, local communities, individual users like you and me to clean our water of PFAS, to drink safe water, to not discharge that into the environment. And that is why it's so important to talk about water treatment, not just from a municipality or large, flow rates of a water treatment plant perspective, but also to empower you, me, and other people who really care about this problem. And bringing it to a city would be a great way of doing that. So really excited for that and happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Fantastic, Fajer. We also have somebody who has been through the SSF experience with us. Zach, CEO, co-founder of Zalben. You've been part of that 2023-2024 cohort. And I hope that you can tell us a little bit about Zalben, what it is, the solution that you're solving, and then a little bit about how this place-based innovation model has supported your solution. What can you tell us about this kind of actual live example for us of how connecting people that in that local way has made a big difference?
Yes, yeah, and I think when we think of our cities, we have a very large problem that we're looking to solve, and a very large climate problem. Our cities, they consume over 75% of the world's energy. They produce 70% of CO2 emissions. When we think into the future, by 2050, over 2/3 of the global population will live in cities, and 60% of buildings that will exist have not been built yet. And so at Zachary, we are looking to decarbonize and transform cities like San Francisco to create healthier, greener spaces, one building at a time. And we're doing that with nature-based climate technologies. And so we think of San Francisco, we think of a future where we transform the city with living walls and green roofs, and this has real tangible benefits to our buildings. They help capture 80% of stormwater management. They help improve city air quality at a city scale, improve energy savings by 25%. They also help lower our city temperatures by as much as 5 to 8 degrees. And of course, invites biodiversity back into our cities, our parks, and our homes. And the exciting thing is we're doing this with San Francisco. We're now doing it at the local level with developers, property owners, and with Gensler to think through how do we revitalize and reimagine what that future looks like.
That's fantastic. Zach, and can you just give us the couple products that Zachary does? Can you just bring to life a little bit of what are some of those things that you're bringing to buildings?
Of course. So it's green roof solutions that could be for retrofits or, again, new urban planning, and also living walls. So our idea is to create living, breathing buildings that ultimately capture and purify air on a city level. Fantastic.
All right, over to you, Shanti. You have been bringing innovation across India, and of course, as you can imagine, a core part of the Yes Cities ambition is to leverage technology and innovation for a more equitable future. But can you tell us about some of these key issues for urban innovation in India? As we heard, we're coming to India. What are some of the things that you think are so crucial for Indian cities? And do you have some examples of how you've been bringing urban innovation to those domains?
Absolutely. First of all, I'm really excited that you're coming to India. So, as you know, all of you know, at Enable India, we've been actually working on livelihoods for persons with disability across 21 different disability types. And in the process, we've actually been able to shift narratives, of a person being a productive employee, active citizen, taxpayer, volunteer, innovator. It's exciting. But the only problem was when we started trying to look at it from a population scale or a place-based scale, right? We realized we have to look at the systemic issues that come in the way of, say, a lady in a wheelchair. She's somehow managing to go to work. Quality of life is not good. I'm sure she can never meet her boyfriend, maybe after a month or something. Or maybe she has to take her, somebody has to take their daughter and can't do that just because it's so difficult to do it. You're doing it, but it's difficult. And there are many people who are not coming out of their houses just because it's difficult. So given this, we were clear that we had to innovate again. And we also knew it had to be community-led. And we also knew that the foundational layer was going to be the digital public infrastructure. And as everybody knows, the India Stack has become really famous because just like you have public roads, which really made things possible for all of us to interact and do things, DPI is the future. So we looked at urban mobility as one of the first things and looked at which company was using DPI, And that's when we looked at Namayatri, zeroed in on them. And we started something called Purple Rides, where the consumer with disability says, yes, I'm blind, I'm deaf, etc. And the driver gets a notification as soon as the consumer has said, I want a ride. He knows it's a purple ride. So he's already ready, that I have to do something different. So while he's going to pick up, let's say, a blind girl or boy, he knows that what he has to do, how he has to actually handle, because there's a video which plays, and he knows that go to where the person is, they're not going to know where you are. It's going to take 2 seconds more. But just that empathy is what the driver has to show. With all of this, the driver then gets a badge that he's a purple champion. And I can tell you that drivers have been feeling really proud of being part of Purple Rides. And till today, 214,000 drivers in just a year have actually gained awareness and sensitized about disability. We've been working for so long. I don't think we've been able to do awareness this quickly, and that's what technology can do, you know. About 114,000 persons with disability have been taking Purple Rides. And the most important thing is the average ticket size for a rickshaw is around 0.5 euros, and the driver revenues have been around 500,000 euros. This is with just one city, with just autos and not even cabs, etc. So with this, along with the startup ecosystem that we've been working with, we have startups that actually have e-accessible rickshaws, wheelchairs that turn into bikes, swivel seats. There's an entire ecosystem waiting, Kwasi, just for you to come to, to Bangalore and to India. But I think when inclusion is going to be at the heart of Yes Cities, I think we are going to really make a big difference.
That's great, Shanti. Well, listen, we've got 9 minutes left. I want to just take a quick moment and see if there's any questions in the audience. And if not, I've got a whole flurry of ones that I would like to throw at you. Let me take a look and see. Is there anybody that has a question? Okay. Well, I'll get started, and then if anybody is inspired, you guys make sure you just let us know. We've got a microphone ready. I'd like to maybe start with you, Anacláudia, and come back on kind of this kind of global level. And maybe I just ask, because we only have 10 minutes, we'll try to keep the questions going pretty quick. But you've got this global vision. Cities, on the one hand, we're talking about how important they are, but we also know they're so different, right? San Francisco is not going to be the same as Mumbai, Delhi, or Bangalore. But are there some things that you see as really important similarities when you're thinking about bringing innovation to an urban context?
Yeah, for sure, John. I'm very glad that cities will not look the same in the future. But it's wonderful to be able to move and travel from city to city and to experience the culture and the diversity. And this is what drives us as humanity, as a planet, right? And I'm very happy that this panel has also this diversity and the local and the global. It's just the way we have to go. I spoke in my first round about the relevance of cities, but right now I just want to call attention that we are all, and this is the common denominator, in a very fragile situation. So if we look at the crises that we are facing, disasters, humanitarian crisis, all the conflicts, how they are affecting cities, right? The climate events, heat waves, sea level rise, how all that is going to affect cities. So we are fragile at this moment. We at UN Habitat, we are really focusing our attention to the global housing crisis, and this is another common denominator. I believe almost all cities are facing some sort of housing crisis. We have homelessness, we have affordability crisis, accessibility, what you said, but also people living in informal settlements in very, very vulnerable territories. So we need to build. Yeah. We need to build. So it's very critical, and I really would like to call the attention for the importance of how we build, with whom we build, and where we build. So respecting the social and ecological function of the land, understanding that we are growing more in territories than in terms of population. We don't need that. So we have to maximize the land. We have to rethink the way we build. We have to recycle. We have to maximize. We have to rethink the way we live, accept the diversity of options and really maximize what we have. So this is what I wanted to bring as a common denominator of cities. And again, calling attention of the importance of having this combination of local and global, mobilizing communities and build these communities of practice and coalitions.
That's great. Let me follow on with just that aspect of building and where you build and why you build and with whom you build. And maybe to Kwasi and Zach, we've partnered with the Chamber of Commerce in San Francisco, and Kwasi, you took some leadership in saying actually it's not just enough to have this movement be something ephemeral, but actually no, we want to create the YesSF headquarters. Can you talk a little bit about why you decided to do that, where you decided to put it, and what that kind of represents for San Francisco? And I wonder also, Zach, maybe you can then add on like what does having the physical location mean for a startup as you're getting going in a new city?
And John, I'm smiling because the physical location, when we first started to talk about it, my perspective is like, why would we do that, right? And so, like I frequently say, I have no issue being wrong. But that being said, what it's truly created, and I think what we thrive as an organization, is creating ecosystems and creating opportunities for people to convene and come together and have the support system and structure that they need to do great things. And so these innovators, trying to do so many of these things individually without having a centralized location where we could host events, where you could convene, where you could have a business meeting and things of that nature, where you could really sit down in the heart of San Francisco, reclaiming a specific property and creating a space that you can educate others on the beauty of not only the challenges that these solutions that are being brought forward, but also simultaneously just having a good time with like-minded people who are trying to solve the challenges that Anacláudia was talking about. Zach can speak to it much more effectively, but I think that it's just been a phenomenal opportunity to bring together so many great things all in one space.
Yeah, I think having the Yes SF office, it's been transformative for us. It's allowed us to have a physical presence in San Francisco. It's also allowed us to scale and showcase our innovations in that space. And again, for us, it's so important to work closely with the A&D community. So Gensler's in that building. What a great way to build that connection, and also for them to showcase and see our products and for their clients as well. And then you absolutely make a really great point of just the community and collaboration and note sharing that founders do as we're all looking to tackle climate. And I think for us as well, it was as we grow in Zobben, it really helps with that venture community to also see and meet in our office and partners. So it's been a really exciting, and I'm looking forward to all the innovators that we're going to be seeing and meeting in the space. And
I know we're looking forward to having living walls in that headquarters very soon.
Yes.
I had a question.
Shanti, please.
No, I had a question because I just find that innovators, you feel so alone sometimes, right? And just being part of a community, did that help also? Because otherwise you're just always just battling everything alone. I mean, you don't feel anybody is batting on your side.
Yeah, I mean, I think it could be, we can certainly, but I think, yeah, it can feel like a lonely journey, but when you're surrounded with a community and you find kind of your people and that support, it just makes it all worth it, and then you're like, oh, we're all
together,
yeah, the collaboration is absolutely.
No, because you'll keep hearing this word ecosystem communities. It means something really special, and that's the reason I was asking that. Anyways,
Shanti, maybe carry on though. Like, what do you see on the ground in India? Are there ecosystems? What is the Chamber of Commerce equivalent that you think that we should be working with? And if you have an extra 30 seconds, maybe you've talked to me a little bit about the purple economy.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. So just for all of you, I was just, when I'm looking again at population scale, I just realized there are no real disability systems out there, and no known systems. They're all broken. And I drew a parallel to the healthcare. Before the 1800s, actually sickness was disabling, and you didn't have healthcare as you know it. There were pockets of innovation, sounds exactly like what it is in disability. We have amazing pockets of innovation. But after 1800s, you have this entire healthcare system with pharmacies and doctors and pharmaceuticals. And because of that, you and I are sitting today without having any issues. So we realized that there's an economy around disability. And that is what we've actually been working towards, and we are calling that purple economy because purple is the color for disability. And in one way, we've showcased it with these driver revenues. It's just the start. So
that's really great, Shanti. Fajer, maybe I can come to you.
I just wanted to also add on. I heard such wonderful things of what you guys are doing. But the yes cities, Switzerland is the most innovative country in the world. Voted for 15 years, and we don't have a community center like this. Zurich real estate could really benefit from a Yes Cities as well, where all the entrepreneurs will gather. So I'm kind of jealous, to be honest, after all the wonderful...
Kwasi, you're going to get a lot of
we could
requests.
use that.
I would say that the gauntlet has been thrown. So, Jeff, we got a lot of work to do.
We certainly do.
So, and thank goodness we have the phenomenal platform that you and the team have built with Uplink. And I just want to flag the other thing that's really important. It's not only going to these cities, but being immersed in the solutions that are being created for the people there, rather than, or I should say with the people there, rather than without their input. Yeah. And I think that that's truly what's been phenomenal with Yes San Francisco and what we hope to continue in the future.
Well, one of the things I heard this week as we march towards a net zero, nature positive future is that the days are short. The days are long and the years are short. We've got a lot of work to do, and we know that Yes Cities is going to be a big part of that. So I'd like to thank, of course, the Center for Urban Transformation, Deloitte, but also Anacláudia, Fajer, Zachary, Shanti, Kwasi. Thank you for being here with us today. Thank you, everybody online and in the room, for taking part in this media briefing, and we wish you a fantastic rest of your Davos experience.
Thank you, John. And Jeff.